This call will be recorded and monitored.
Well, hello, Mr. Wall. I haven't heard from you in a while. How are you? Single? What do you mean? Oh, so you lost your cellmate? Dead? Oh my goodness, there has got to be a story behind this. Oh my goodness. Murdered. You know, I'm not a big fan of crime, but I don't think we should just go around killing people. You know, they have a chance to change their life around or something. Oh, well, yeah, that's pretty bad. You know, human trafficking, that's a sore subject for me. Let's put it that way. Okay, so he was in there for selling girls. Oh, boy. You know, we have a person in the news that admitted to killing his daughter's ex-girlfriend because he sold her into slavery in Seattle. And there's a lot of support, you know, that he's getting for his defense and stuff. And so there's a lot of people out there who have no sympathy for folks that deal in human trafficking. But I mean, that's pretty harsh. I mean, your cellmate is dead. He was murdered. Uh-huh. Well, you know, I'm sure you agree. There's reasons to be in prison, and some people should be left in prison, you know. And the fact that he's in prison, oh, wow, that's not a very long sentence at all. So this guy who killed him, what's he in for? He's a lifer. You know, I've heard a lot of prison officials say the ones they fear the most behind the walls are the people who are in for a life sentence. They really have nothing to lose, you know, and this guy figures that he doesn't like human traffickers and people who sell little girls, and he just decided to beat them to death. And that's, you know, what's he got to lose? Oh, boy, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't really, I guess, you know, being in the whole, what do you think's going to happen? Is it going to make him reform or something? You know, he really has nothing to look forward to. He's in prison for 3 life sentences, and so I guess this was a 4th now, and so I don't think he was really planning on seeing the light of day anyway. Is this something like a part of a game, or, you know, was he planning this? Yeah. Okay, so you have the people
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Well, you have the people that have inside knowledge, and that can't be a good thing. Well, I guess it's a good thing that you have to sell it to yourself for now. It's just that it's a shame that this happened. Well, I know. You know, I'm, like I said, I don't have any sympathy whatsoever for these people who sell little girls. It's just that
You have 30 seconds remaining.
I think we would have been better off having him live, you know, that entire term thinking about what he did. It's almost like the easy way out, you know. It's like the guy who goes out and commits murder and then death by police shooting or something, or commit suicide. Well, okay. Well, thanks for the call, and I'm gonna take this to heart. Welcome to AQS Inmate Call. I am your host, Joel Wilborn, and we just got off the phone with Jeffery Wall. He is in prison for drugs. He was in the gang and stuff. And he just informed me that his cellmate was beat to death by a man who is serving 3 life sentences for killing his family. And there's this interesting thing about prisons. You have a set of rules that people follow, and they're created by prison officials. It's the policies and the rules, the laws, of the prison population. And, there's been word that a lot of them are modified and changed and ignored, and, it's just, we all have our little quirks about those things. But the official word is you should be able to pull out a document and read off the policy and what should be done and how we handle things. This is prison rules. Now, in the prison, the other set of rules will be the prisoner rules. And these are rules that's set by prisoners, the people in the prison serving a sentence. Now, the rules set by the prison are just kind of like, you want to get a good report or a good review, then you'll impress the prison officials and you can get released early or something. But prisoner rules, that's the ones that you really have to pay attention to while in prison. Because if you don't follow them, it's not like you're going to lose your good time, or it's not like you're going to be thrown in the hole. These people could kill you. And they could seriously harm you, put you in the hospital. We saw that with Marcel and his buddies that he snitched on were put in the prison with him. And he had to go to solitary for his own protection. And you see, that's like the prisoner rules. You don't snitch on people. And you don't hang around people that, have a grudge in there. And so, in this particular case, prisoners have an inside source of information. So, as much as the prison officials want to hide crimes from other prisoners, to prevent something like this, it doesn't always work when you follow the prison rules. Prisoner rules, it works because they get the information a lot of times before the prisoner even gets there. We got a man coming in, and was convicted of rape. And if there's somebody in the prison who's not a big fan of rapists, maybe he'd been raped himself or somebody close to him, he may want to go after this person. And of course, the prisoners aren't going to stand in his way. And in this particular case, this man, just within a few hours of arriving in prison, he was murdered. And I'm pretty sure they all set that up before he even got there. So they were able to point him out when he walked in and just eliminate him. And that's just one of the hardships and one of the realities of prison. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in prisons that we don't know about. And, you know, you could watch a TV show and you can watch a series and you can get an idea of what goes on in there. But you really don't know the story until you've been in there. And I've talked to a few people who get out of prison, and they're telling me it's not a good place to be. They don't like being there, which is fine. They shouldn't like being there. And they're saying that it's just tough. You know, you have to mind your P's and Q's while in there. You know, you don't want to give out too much information, and you don't want to suppress too much information. It's just a different kind of lifestyle. And getting out after that type of life, it's, you know, one of their biggest fears is that they're not going to want to socialize. They're not going to want to trust anybody. And they may want to kind of avoid any conflict or something. You know, so their actual outlook on life is not the best for their success. And this is something we have to accept when we lock people up. They go to prison and they're not going to pick up good habits. And they're not going to learn how to be better people from, you know, the other inmates, especially those that just plain don't like them. And, you know, there's little cliques that go on in there, and there's still gangs that go on in there. And then there's certain deals that people make. You know, I was talking to a woman once, and she needed some money because she was supposed to be buying this person's TV. And so the person said, okay, you know, I'll let you use the TV. You get me the money by tomorrow. And she says, if I don't get this money, I'll be beat up. And so, you know, that would kind of put me on the spot. It's like, what? What's going on in there? And you have to hang out with the right people in there as well. So one of the things to take from all of this is that prison can be the ultimate grounds for retaliation. You know, this guy, his story is out, and then he pays the ultimate price for it. Doesn't matter how long he was sentenced. The people in the prison didn't want him around. And this isn't going to be broadcast on the local news either. This is just going to be something that's going to be swept under the table and moved on. You know, we had a person in prison who was put in a cell with a man he recognized as having raped his sister. And so, you know, this isn't going to turn out well. And, you know, he told me the prison set me up. They knew this man raped my sister, and they knew I was going to get angry at him. And this guy would taunt him because he remembered his sister, and he talked about the event as if he just felt that he was free and he could say whatever he wanted and with no consequences. But of course the man wound up killing him. And when I talk with prisoners, I'm not really interested in their crime because, you know, they went to court. A lot of it goes out in the news, you know, and they're convicted and they go to prison. why keep talking about it? They're sitting in there, they're paying their time. I don't really want to keep bringing that up. I'm more interested in the conditions that's going on in there and what I can do to help their family and to help them to get back into society and put that behind them so that they won't go back again. But in this particular case, that was the big thing. It's like, what's going on with you? And it's like, they set me up. And it's kind of reminds me of the federal prison where the people go in there and it's really, really harsh and you have to really watch your own back. And how they'll get together, and if a person goes in there that they consider a danger to society or whatever, they'll get rid of the person. And it's not pretty. And I'm not sure why families aren't notified in a lot of situations like this. It could be that the prison officials think this person is not that important. I don't know. But that's something that we gotta remember too. Drugs I don't really see as something that we should kill people over, But a lot of people who get high, they wind up doing things that the general population just doesn't understand. Why would somebody, beat and torture a young lady and then nearly chop off her head? And when the person's in court, it's more like, well, I was high. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't reasonable. And they'll take that into consideration when sentencing the person. Yet the rest of society will sit back and think, that is cruel. That is just like satanic. And, when we do this to people and they get out, they're just going to have to stay away from drugs. Because if the drug is what caused them to do this in the first place, who's to say it won't happen again and they'll just blame the drugs? Or if they used the drugs and they were telling the truth and this really did just mess up their sense of reason, I don't know. I don't know why we want to do something like that. But, human trafficking, serial killers, serial rapists, these are very violent crimes. And crimes where the people aren't high on anything. They're just very self-centered. They're just thinking about themselves and not the consequence that's coming from this. And so they need to be sitting in prison thinking about this. And they need some deep, deep therapy. People who will work with them, who understand what's going through their mind, to help them get back out in society. Because a lot of these folks aren't getting life sentences. A lot of them go to prison, pick up bad habits, and then come back out. They could be on probation or not. I mean, there was a person that got out early because of the COVID, and he wound up hunting down the woman who ratted on him, and then he killed her. He didn't care. At least that's the way it appears, So there's a lot of reality going on behind those walls. Things that we don't think about. And if we don't bring this to the surface, if we don't start dealing with this in the proper manner, it's just going to perpetuate. And it's just going to be a vicious cycle that will never end. So we have now one less human trafficker out there. But what about those who get away? And what about your neighbors that you think ran away from home, or you think just got tired of society and moved away? What about those that we think are safe or just think are doing the things that they want to do, and they were captured and sent off into human trafficking? On Oxyword, Marianne Atkins, she was in a similar situation like that, and she wound up killing the person who abducted her. The prosecutor didn't believe her story. It looked like she was just making stuff up, and then fixed it to the point that she would have to go to prison, and she accepts it. It's just that how many others are in prison because of that, especially those who are underage. And I think the more we get this out, the better our chances of taking a stab at it and lessening the effects. We're not going to completely eliminate it. That's a myth. But we can help the person recover. And when that Freedom Day does come out a better person. That's what we need. People to go into prison with their certain mindset and then come out with an improved outlook on life and an improved set of goals that will make them better people. But it's all up to them. We can say what we want, do what we want, go where we want. We can't affect other people, just ourselves. So as long as we follow the law and as long as we reach out and thrive for a better life, we can get there. It's just that we learn a lot when we do that. We can pass it on. We can teach others. And we can help these people to change their lives. Hopefully you'll go out, do some reading on this, look at the modern stories, and open a discussion for this. Talk to your legislators. Write letters to community leaders and look up advocacy groups and charities, and there's a lot of GoFundMes that will help folks too. Look those up and get involved. See what you can do to keep people safe out on the streets and out of prison. We need to work toward keeping people out of prison rather than spending a massive amount of money to dump on them to stay in prison. There's different ways, I think. But discuss it. Get out there. Figure it out on your own. And that way you'll feel a little more comfortable about what you do. If you choose not to help, that's fine. But I just ask that you don't stand in somebody's way who wants to help. Don't get online and start criticizing people and hating people because they want to help people stay out of prison, or they want to help people who get out of prison not go back. There's no reason to treat these people as the enemy. They're trying to protect the community. They're just doing it in a different way. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you want to hear some real stories from real incarcerated people, go to YouTube and do a search for Joel Wilborn. Go to Oxyword and choose somebody and listen to that story. So have yourself a wonderful day and go out and make wonderful and terrific memories for tomorrow.